You are watching a Fact TV presentation of the town of Swanzey.
I will call to order the August 13 meeting of the Swanzey Planning Board. Beginning with attendance, I'm Victoria Reck Ames. I'm here. Scott Self.
Here.
Mark Scalera.
Here.
Richard Lane.
Here.
Brandon Self, I do not see yet, although that might be him. Michael York.
Here.
Selectmen's Rep Alan Gross.
Here.
Stacy Gudeo.
Here.
Charlie Harbeck.
Here.
And I don't see Jane. Maybe that's not. I'm going to seat Charlie for Brandon for now. And if he comes, he'll be unseated. Okay. Our agenda for tonight is beginning with the approval of minutes of July 23rd, 2026. Then we have several public hearings. PB 2610, site plan review, Baylev Holdings LLC, represented by Brice Rayner, has submitted a site plan review application for the property located at 126 Monadnock Highway. The applicant proposes to expand outside storage by excavating the bank on the eastern side of the building, installing a small retaining wall, and paving the area. Additionally, the applicant proposes utilizing the excavated fill to level the northwestern and southwestern sides of the building to create more flat storage space. The property is at tax map 103, lot 84 in the business district, and the applicant has requested a continuance, just FYI for now. We'll return to that. Second is PB 2611, a minor subdivision. An application for a minor subdivision has been submitted by Lawrence Land Surveying, acting on behalf of property owner Richard Whitney. The application proposes subdividing the subject property, identified as tax map 255, lot 24, into 3 individual building lots. The parcel is situated within the rural agricultural district on the eastern side of Rabbit Hollow Road and south of Swanzey Lake Road. Then under discussions and other business, we have a boundary line adjustment. An application for a boundary line adjustment has been submitted by Promised Land Survey, acting on behalf of property owners Chad Fontaine, Alice Fontaine, and Deborah Hamill. The subject properties are identified as tax map 249 lots 49 and 50, with addresses at 102 and 110 Goodell Avenue. Parcels are situated within the residence district on the northern side of Goodell Avenue and east of New Hampshire Route 32. Then we have a site plan modification from Environmental Alternatives, Inc., a site plan modification related to the Dillon Hopkins Airport ground-mounted solar, and a brief zoning audit discussion. So, first step is to consider the minutes of July 23rd, 2026. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes, and are there any corrections, additions, or deletions?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 23rd.
Motion by Mark, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Now, our question about regional impact: does anything on the agenda qualify as a development of regional impact requiring notification of neighboring municipalities?
I'll make a motion there is none.
Motion by Richard. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I guess, let's see. I'll reread the public notice. Our first item is the 2610 site plan review for Baylev Holdings, represented by Brice Rayner, has submitted a site plan review application for the property located at 126 Monadnock Highway. The applicant proposes to expand outside storage by excavating the bank on the eastern side of the building, installing a small retaining wall, and paving the area. Additionally, the applicant proposes utilizing the excavated fill to level the northwestern and southwestern sides of the building to create more flat storage space. The property is at tax map 103, lot 84 in the business district. Now, our public hearing is still open because we continued, we first received this application on July 9 when we accepted it as complete. and then we continued that public hearing to August 13. On July 10, 3 members of the planning board visited the site. That was Mark Sclera, Stacy Goodell, and me. And we, as a result of that, recommended additional detail to be shown on the site plan, which Stacy documented in writing, and Mark and I met with Adam to give him our ideas. And today we have a second continuation, a request for a second continuation, which, Adam, are we going, did he ask for August 27th? Is that his request?
I have reached out for a date confirmation and have not heard back.
Okay.
So I think that would be prudent. I also advise to possibly withdraw and reapply, but there's some obvious cost downsides to that.
Yeah.
So I think the 27th would be a good idea.
So that would be 49 days into the application out of the 65 days that he has, and we would need to make a decision by September 10th unless he waives the requirement for planning board action and consents to an extension. So I guess today we need a motion to continue the public hearing to August 27th.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
And the date will be the 27th of August, correct?
Yes.
Without further notice.
Yes. Any discussion regarding the application or the process itself at this point? Okay. We have a motion, second, no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay. Next is a minor subdivision, and this is an application submitted by Lawrence Land Surveying, acting on behalf of property owner Richard Whitney. The application proposes subdividing the subject property identified as tax map 255, lot 24, into 3 individual building lots. The parcel is situated within the rural agricultural district on the eastern side of Rabbit Hollow Road and south of Swanzey Lake Road. Who do we have to represent this? Would you like to come forward? Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Charlie with Lawrence Land Surveying, here to present a 3-lot subdivision, map 255, lot 24, Rabbit Hollow Road, for Richard Whitney. Currently, map 255, lot 24 is 124.66 acres. We propose to create 3 lots, 62.16 acres, 56.60 acres, 5.9 acres. It is zoned in the rural agricultural district with a minimum 3 acres and 225 feet of frontage. At this point, all lots meet those requirements. The selectmen have agreed to allow Mr. Whitney to extend the Class 5 portion of Rabbit Hollow Road to a total length beyond the last property that's developed of 450 feet, which will give lots 2 and 3, they're required 225 feet off a town-maintained road. The first lot has frontage between 2 existing house lots. It actually has 450 feet of frontage there, and that is Class 5. The road agent has given his blessing on this extension, and we've also been in communication with him as far as the driveway locations, and he says that once this subdivision is approved, the driveway should be no problem.
Thank you.
Sure.
What we're going to do, if you don't mind waiting,
Sure.
What we need to do is to review the plat to make sure, I know you requested several waivers, and we just need to be sure that we have sufficient information shown to allow us to open a public hearing and discuss the subdivision.
Sure.
And if there's anybody here from the public who would like to discuss it, there'll be a moment later for that to happen. So, I'm trying to think the best way to go through. We don't have a display version of this application, do we?
No.
No.
You can sit if you want.
Yeah, please sit.
This might be a while.
Yeah, we're friendly. These
The
are
board
pretty,
can look it over then.
okay, these are
You don't
pretty
have one,
straightforward. So come up and join us. Yeah, we'll be asking you more questions. So what we're going to do is just go through the plat submission checklist, and there's certain items that you have said that you've asked for a waiver for because maybe they don't apply. But the board needs to all be on the same page with that. So on item number 3 is a scale. The request is for, instead of 1 inch equals 30 feet, the request for 1 inch is 200 feet, and the reason for that is that this is a large lot. Continuing down, location and profiles with elevations, let's see, number 8, location and profiles with elevations of existing water mains, sewers, culverts, drains. This is, that infrastructure doesn't exist here in the rural agri district, and the project does not, you have stated the project does not include any connections to public water and sewer, since they're not there to connect to. And you also note that New Hampshire DES approval is not required as all lots are greater than 5 acres. Under 13, the location of groundwater has not been identified because test pits were not performed.
And that would be for the same reason, that the perk tests aren't required because the lots are over.
And likewise, number 14, perk tests were not performed. Under 16, there are no deed restrictions. And under 17, no open space is proposed to be preserved. Under 20, that refers to final road profiles and cross-sections, and no new roads are proposed to be constructed. Well, it's not a new road, but you're going to be improving
We're upgrading the
Upgrading.
existing road to Class 5 standards.
Class 5 standards, okay. So does that require profiles?
No, probably not, because that's not part of the site plan. It's the
Okay.
town road.
True that.
Right now it's a class 6, correct?
It's a Class 5 for 150 feet beyond the last residence.
Okay.
Because we needed 450 feet of frontage, we're proposing to extend that 300 feet and give the town a turnaround at the end of that 450 feet.
I knew that, I was just going to mention that, so everybody else did. Thank you.
Let's see, 21 talks about drainage and erosion control plans, and you're saying that that's not relevant because no new roads are proposed. And under 22, state subdivision or septic approval is not required. You're saying because all lots are greater than 5 acres, and then you have pending the municipal access permit that you described. So the question before the board is, do board members feel that with these exclusions, we have adequate information on the plat to justify going to public hearing?
I'll first make a motion about the waivers. That we grant them the waivers they requested, because our wording would be finding that the waivers would not have an adverse impact on public health, safety, or abutting properties, and that granting the request is consistent with the intent and purpose of the rules waived.
Motion by Scott,
I'll second that motion.
second by Mark. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then the next question is whether we're prepared to accept the subdivision application as complete and proceed to public hearing.
I'll make that motion to accept the application as complete and proceed to public hearing.
A second.
Second by Richard. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Then I will open the public hearing at 6:14. Planning planning board, do you have questions regarding this plat?
Looks pretty straightforward. They've got the appropriate and required frontage, and they've got everything on there that we're looking for, and they're bringing the road up. And it looks like from our packet that the selectmen said that they would accept the road once it was brought up to the class 5 rather, and it is brought up to class 5 now, is that correct?
We have approximately 380 feet done. There was some discussion between Joe and Mr. Whitney. So there's another roughly 70 feet to build, and we're hoping that gets done in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
There has to be a condition.
Yeah, condition right on that last 70 feet.
I assume you guys have the 30-day appeal period after an approval? Do you follow? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This extension, this is just a curiosity on my part. So this is in response to the change in state law regarding state law currently requires the governing body to approve construction on Class 6 roads. That approval it used to not be required, but now applicants are required.
It never was allowed before, but
Right.
the new law, now they allow
Says it
it.
is. So the municipality has choices. The selectmen can provide services, can maintain the road, or be liable for losses or damages. Is the town going to maintain the road at this
Yes.
point? Okay, Yeah.
Because that was for class 6, wasn't it?
yes.
And they're bringing it
Up to class 5, and then the town has to take over. Okay,
I didn't accept it.
Yeah, so that's
good to know.
the difference.
Okay,
We originally were not proposing to upgrade it, but it was pointed out that in the regulations, it says 225 feet on a town-maintained road.
okay.
which
So now it's
means
a
class 5,
town-maintained
so
road. Okay,
that's why we're going to extend that out.
good.
Once they start or bring in construction on these subdivisions, they have to show the drainage for the driveways on a plat.
That won't come before our board,
That's
right?
what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's up to the building inspector to make sure that is done, because it's not a
Where will
commercial.
that be kept? Then just with the building inspector?
It will be with the building inspector, yeah. If it was commercial, then yeah, we'd see it before our board and look at that. But if it's the building department for a residential, then it's up to the building inspector.
So these lots will be developed by the people who buy them, right? This isn't going to be a development of houses?
So the current answer is the 5.9 acre lot Mr. Whitney's grandson is going to build a house on. The other 2 lots, one is going to belong to his grandson, one is going to belong to his daughter. They're not intending on building on them right now.
Yeah, it's not relevant to our
Yeah.
approval. I just like to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to clarify, you keep saying minor subdivision, but in your regulations, the only way it can be considered a minor subdivision if it's not further subdividable?
That is in there, yeah, that is
Yeah, so
in there.
we do not want it to be tagged with that, so that's why I submitted it as a major subdivision.
My understanding is that it comes in, it is defined as a minor subdivision based on the number of lots that you propose. If you return again and seek to do another subdivision of the lots, wouldn't that be a new application?
But what he said, that little caveat is in there. It's
Okay,
it's
it
kind of
is in
hidden
there.
in there, but it says that about the minor subdivision, if when you're done, the rest of the lots cannot be subdivided further.
Okay,
Then you're the minor, but if they can be, then you're the major.
okay,
But the public hearing is the same, like we're doing right now.
okay. But what you're saying is that you would like to reserve the option. But
Yes.
what would change in terms of,
I'm just quoting your
Yeah.
regulations.
sure,
Wouldn't that require future improvements to the road?
It just says, it's minor subdivision is anything 3 acres or less, or any three lots or less, and the remaining lots are not further subdividable.
It also says, though, requires no new streets utilities or other municipal improvements.
Okay.
So I think it's correct to
Okay.
list it as minor.
Okay,
So they would not be restricted if somebody wanted to take, say, that first lot that has 450 feet of frontage and subdivide that into 2 building lots, they would be able to do that?
You would have to improve the road again.
That's already on class 5.
Oh.
That portion already has frontage on class 5. It's the one in between the 2.
I think you're taking the definition.
Okay.
Like, very face value.
Okay.
Essentially, as long as you have the frontage and the dry acreage, and you meet the other subdivision
Okay.
requirements,
Just
Yeah,
should be okay.
That would be correct.
Yeah,
Just doing due diligence for my client.
absolutely. Totally understand.
any other questions from the board? Questions from the public? Anybody here to speak to this? Hearing no other questions, if we're ready, I'll close the public hearing. Ready? All right, closing the public hearing, 6:21. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the 3-lot subdivision.
I'll make a motion that we accept it with the condition of the extension of the class 6 into a class 5.
I'll second.
Second. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You're all set.
That the road be upgraded to the class 5
Right.
for the, I guess, the rest of the 75 feet, but anyways, beyond where they have it located on the plan.
Can we also add in there that it's approved by the road agent?
We're in the middle of a motion here, you can't add into that stuff. It has, we know that it has to be approved by the road agent anyways. The selectmen already said that they'd be okay with it as long as the road agent signed off on it. So if the road agent doesn't approve it, then it's not going in there regardless of whether we approved it or not. So, and they've already talked to the road agent.
All right. All set? We're also set with that. Our next item is, what? Did we not vote? I thought we voted. So many votes. All right, all in favor of the motion as, with conditions?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'm not for sure we voted on that.
I kind of thought so.
I don't know.
Actually heard that a lot beyond this might have some activity, and this road might end up being extended even further. Heard that last night. You heard it last night. Yep. I heard it this morning.
Next on the agenda is a boundary line adjustment, and this is for an adjustment submitted by Promised Land Survey, acting on behalf of property owners Chad Fontaine, Alice Fontaine. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Identified as tax map 249, lots 49 and 50, with addresses at 102 and 110 Goodell Avenue. The parcels are situated within the residence district on the northern side of Goodell Avenue and east of New Hampshire 132. Who do we have representing this application?
We're not going to have anybody here tonight.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to notify you guys. The applicant is away, and the surveyor is not available without a substantial charge, so.
Does the board, would the board like to continue with this without the applicant?
I should be available for some basic questions.
Okay, why don't you present to us? Adam, tell us what they would say.
Sounds good. So they propose adjusting the shared lot line between 102 and 110 Goodell Avenue. The required lot size for the residence district is 1 acre. The required frontage is 150 feet off a town or state maintained road. Going over the existing conditions, we're looking at tax map 249, lot 49, and lot 50. The current area of 24949 is 5.89 acres, and the proposed area is 5.79 acres. The existing area of the other lot, which is lot 50, is 1.82. The proposed new acreage for that lot is 1.92. They are both staying above the required minimum lot size. The frontage is also staying above the minimum. So lot 49 is going from 230 feet of frontage down to 186 feet of frontage. Lot 50 is going from 146 feet to 190 feet. So that is becoming compliant from not compliant. That's pretty much the gist of it. If you look at page 23 of your packets, you'll see a triangle. I don't know if you can see the shading, but that line is just being straightened out. It's kind of wonky right now. It's just being straightened out north to south. So both lots will be a bit more even. And again, lot 50 is becoming compliant with frontage. That's kind of it. Pretty basic. If you have any other questions, I can try to answer them.
Our general practice has been, when we're improving a situation that's simple, we tend to be in favor of it. And this looks like an improvement, greater compliance.
I make a motion, this is one of those simple things.
Okay. We have a motion by Mark to approve the boundary line adjustment.
I will second that motion.
Is there anybody here? I should have asked this before, but I can't do that now, can I? Never mind. It's just one.
You can if we rescind our motions, because we haven't done anything.
I don't know that anybody is here from the public to speak to this, so then please don't rescind your motions. Okay. So any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Mr. Noonan,
Moving right along.
we have a site plan modification from Environmental Alternatives. At our prior meeting, we we quickly reviewed what's proposed and determined that, in our estimation, this is indeed a site plan modification rather than a site plan revision. So if you will go through the changes that you propose.
Yes, good evening. John Noonan, for the record, Fieldstone Land Consultants here on behalf of Environmental Alternatives, Inc. As mentioned by the chair, we had come before the board in July, and it was determined by the board to submit a site plan modification for the following changes. The building that has not been built has been enlarged to 40 feet wide by 100 feet in length, where 40 by 80 was approved previously. The second change being the parking has been modified based on the larger building configuration. The drainage has been revised based on the larger building configuration. Although all areas drain to the same stormwater management system as approved, there is no increase to impervious area. We basically just shifted where parking lot was before is now building coverage for an additional 20 feet in that length. The edge of the pavement adjacent to the north wetlands does not change. That was a planning board concern when I presented in July. And then the 50-foot wetland buffer has been added to the plans. That was also requested by the planning board at the last hearing. And really it wasn't on our plans, just for the record, initially, because that was not a setback for the town, so being a new setback. And I'll point out on the plans where those are. So this was the previously approved plans where we had the 40 by 80 building. We had 2 parking spaces here to the north and then parking here. So now with the additional 20 feet of building, we moved those spaces that would have been where the building is to this side here. So there it still exceeds the setback of 50 feet or 77 feet from the wetland at the closest point to the building. And then this impervious area where we have our paved parking lot edge here did not change from here to the plan, so that is still where it was on your plans. So basically, we've swapped parking spaces to this end. On this plan set, which is what was submitted, we're designating now as the size of the office on this end, and the client would like to have, or what the plan is for the office is to have that elevated 4 feet higher than the warehouse and workshop area where they have the equipment in the building. So we're going to have that office 4 feet higher. Door coming in on the right here, and an exterior door with stairs on the left-hand side here. We have the stairs and the sidewalk further down previously on the approved plans. It came to about the midpoint of the building, so now that's slid up 20 feet to through the doors, and the office is smaller than what they originally anticipated. So those are pretty much the changes. Is the building growing 20 feet longer, and now that's office area on that 20-foot extension.
John, where are they at with the actual construction? I know the big buildings there is the,
Yes, they constructed this building. The area to be paved is all gravel. It's too rough grade now with their subsurface gravels in. The drainage structures are all installed.
when you say installed, are they functional?
The catch basins are not. Well, they have a plate over one of them. The other ones have silk sacks in them because it's not paved yet, so to keep gravels and anything getting into the catch basins at this time, we're just kind of covered up on these two catch basins. Everything in the area here, so the grass treatment swale and the detention basin are constructed. And they're growing grass. They're in the midst of coming in right now.
Do any members of the public have thoughts about this? Question? Would you identify yourself for the note taker, please?
Yes, Scott Godwin, 108 Pond Road. My property adjoins.
Got a microphone.
We've had a terrible problem with drainage coming off, not their property, somewhat. They had some sub-drains that dumped directly into the wetlands. The contractor took care of that within a couple of days of the problem. What we have now is the road water coming off Safford Drive, runs directly into the wetlands, through the wetlands, is washing out the banking of my pond, creating an immense amount of silt in my pond, running over the dam directly into Wilson Pond, every time it rains. I've owned the property since June 22nd of this year. I've been on that property for 55 years. I was standing on the man's tractor, front of his tractor, pulling stumps out. I've known those page pretty much my whole life.
So based on Scott's comment, I'll make the point that when we did water testing today, and I actually met Scott today, along with Jay Ward, and the spot where we were testing is where we get our worst test results. So there is some leakage. I don't know, I don't think it has anything to do necessarily with the property, but if it's coming off the road, we want to make sure it has nothing to do with what's being built here. That's my point. So.
Yeah. So I guess a question that I'd like to know the answer to is, at what point, if the drainage system is not operational, at what point does it seems like that should be operational before, it shouldn't be causing problems during the construction phase.
I'll explain
Okay.
what happened. So as everyone knows, we've had torrential downpours.
7.4 inches over 10 days.
Yeah, so Safford Drive runs down, there's a ditch line along Safford Drive. The ditch line ends at the property here. And on the existing road before any of this was constructed, that same gravel ends right here. So all the ditch line comes down, it just terminates. So there's a ditch and then it stops. And there's an under drain that outlets right here. So we have it called out with a 6-inch line right here. So that always just came down and then came across the property into the wetland. So with the proposed plan, we took that ditch line as we had discussed initially is what do we do with that runoff?
Sure, because you don't want it on your property either.
So we bypassed our drainage and outlet it because it always ran into this wetland. We come under ours and outlet to the wetland. When the large storm had happened, the contractor had initially, so we have a pipe and stone that goes behind the edge of the retaining wall here. There's also pipe and stone as a drip strip along the back of the roof so that water comes down into the stone, is picked up by a perforated pipe, and then outlets over into our treatment swale in this area. The contractor had outletted in 3 spots pipes like that directly. So the water obviously took the path of least resistance, came off the roof, and was going directly right here. So when Mr. Goldman reached out to us, he had called me in our office. I went and met with him. I said, yeah, these are absolutely not for plan. The contractor didn't realize that. He said, I didn't know where I was supposed to run them. I said, well, we have it over here. He said, well, I did install it part way to there. I didn't run it all the way into our treatment swale. So that same day, he removed these pipes, restored the loam and seeded it. And then he cleaned out where there was silt. So he had mulch burn all along the wetland edge. So wood chips that are mulched up and burned up so that it stops the sediment. It had washed sediment and some of it was the loam, a little bit of the loam at these 2 locations with the wood chips kind of went in. I mean, it was literally a couple shovelfuls. He cleaned that out, restored the mulch burn, removed all the pipes, these 3 pipes, and made that. But also it's tied into the swale now. At that time, even with the large amounts of water that were going on, the water was bypassing the catch basin here and coming across and getting into the swale where it was supposed to go anyway on this upper side. The sediment forebay and the pond as designed were functioning. I mean, small amount of water, yeah, more than enough capacity. I mean, there was probably, a foot of water in the main basin and about 6 to 8 inches of water in the sediment forebay, which is what it's supposed to do, is sit in there, settle out, and then the water was nice and clear in the pond itself. So this was all functioning as intended after the contractor had fixed these 3 pipes. That was his error. He fixed them immediately the same day. He started on it the same day that we were called. DES was notified also by the abutter. DES came down and looked at it and said, there's not really sediment in there. He had already cleaned up the shovelfuls at each of these 2 pipes, cleaned those up. He already had them removed and was working on just small areas of loaming and seeding. DES had checked around the wetland, said everything looks fine, none of this is impacting. The basin is all stabilized and functioning as designed. And I did not meet DES as the site contractor and DES inspector. They went over, Mr. Goblin had met them out there as well, and they went over and looked at his pond. DES said it didn't look like substantial outfall from the wetland impacting into his property. And he did note that the dam that is in question is not permitted with the state. So then it was kind of left as, well, we're not going to open up or push that can of worms with the state. The contractor on our site has remedied the problem. So the only thing that's directing water now is the underdrain from Safford Drive road runoff where the ditch ends. So that's where it stands.
There's still an underdrain your project. Safford Drive where the ditch ends, To the wetlands.
Correct, and there's, it outlets about 8 feet from the edge of the wetland. There's a riprap apron that's here, that was shown on our plan. He has put straw bales at the end of that too, to try to just mitigate anything that's coming out during the high flows, but it's not runoff from this site, it's runoff from Safford Drive. Probably when Safford Drive was done, the ditch line should have probably been extended down to where the catch basin is at this area. Or at least the under drain tied to it, possibly, would have been another solution. But when we designed it, we had outlined it here. There was, when Joe Caruso had done the inspection for the driveways, he said, I'd like to see culverts put in, because initially we just had it as a low point, so that anything that came in on our driveway went to our drainage. And Joe said, I'd rather see, just in case, is to have driveway culverts. We added driveway culverts at that time. This ditch line tends to be dry. I think the water comes down Safford and then soaks in. I mean, there's, as everyone knows, there's a lot of volume of wetlands up below this. The day that happened, I mean, the brook that runs into Mr. Godwin's pond was raging. There was a lot of water that day for sure. He had a good video of it, when the pipes were running here. I mean, absolutely, this was contributing at that time, but it was fixed that day. Really, I mean, seeded the next day.
Further questions? Please, but please come forward.
Get emotional. The contractor did a fine job repairing his problem with the water coming off. The problem is what comes off Safford Drive, runs directly into the wetlands. The dam was permitted in 1972. I just spoke with a guy from DES today. They are bringing DES back into the picture. They seem like there is a lot of silt and a lot of wood chips in the wetlands area. Wetlands area cannot contain any contaminants at all. Once you destroy 1 square foot of wetlands, you destroy miles of it. It changes the entire ecosystem. This muddy water, which I have some good videos of, directly in the Wilson Pond. We want to clean up Wilson Pond too. We don't want to develop Swanzey and destroy our natural habitats. We can't be doing this. We have to stop this pipe. The contractor tells me the town gave him permission to run that pipe over there. I've done a forward request because I want to see the permit where the town actually wrote it down, put it in plans to run it. I think the contractor may have gone above and beyond the print I looked at that showed that pipe running maybe 3 feet from the wetlands. Now it's probably 20, he ran 20 feet, which gave it a little bit, but it swaled directly into the wetlands area. We have to protect our wetlands. I have a picture from July 19th showing my property in the area where the water runs across, perfectly level. I mow it. Now there's probably a 3-foot swale. The side of my pond is washed out. I just want the town to fix their road problem. We can't be taking all the brine, the salt, the oil from the trucks and dumping it into my pond, into Wilson Pond. It's something that needs to be done fairly quick. It happens every time it rains. It's not just that one big 3.5-inch storm. If we have an inch of rain, it's running into the wetlands and running through. I have videos from a week and a half ago. We had a small rain shower, water running directly in.
Process. Is this, did you meet with the selectmen regarding this?
Bill came up.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
because the road issue is the domain of the Board of Selectmen. What are your thoughts, Adam?
Well, my thoughts are, thank you, Mr. Gabbard, is that it?
Gabbard.
For coming in. I appreciate your concerns and particularly your care for the wetlands and the pond. And so as I'm understanding it, the problem is not from this piece of land that's being developed, but it's the runoff coming down the road. So we need to go to, Adam, the DPW needs to figure out a solution to this?
So I've been in contact with Joe. So a couple notes from this meeting. that I'm hearing is that a culvert was required from Joe. So we need to get some paperwork on that.
Right, just at the driveway crossings, yes.
So I can pull the driveway permit to see what it looks like.
Well, that was just a culvert going into the driveway. There's a swale running down the side, both sides of Safford Drive. It's stone. 4 feet under that stone is a perforated pipe to carry water down. It's that pipe that used to just get in the natural soil, so it would just back up and leach back up through naturally what it would do. Now that pipe is exposed, that water has no place to go, it's straight up, the path of least resistance, straight up again. And there is a lot of debris in the wetlands. There is a lot of wood chips. There is a lot of silt in the wetlands. I guess it's opinions. To me, it's zero. I retired from the United States Environmental Service. I was on the chemical industrial side of it, but I do have a little bit of knowledge of wetlands and whatnot. You can't put anything in the wetlands. And we have heavy trucks pumping oil on Safford Drive. That's coming in, of course, the brine, the salt, from the winter time. And just the damage to my area. And it's called drainage trespass, when drainage goes across the person's property. Just please put a stop to it. You know, let's save our wetlands. It's great we're putting an industrial park there. I don't understand why in the first place we put one around so many wetlands. In my personal opinion, that's the worst thing we could have done. But if you create a foot of roof space, concrete, asphalt, you've taken away that much natural leaching ability. And to run that water just directly anywhere, you have to see the consequences down the road. It falls, the water doesn't stop. If we just get on it, just fix the problem, plug that pipe, either the contractor mentioned just plugging the pipe, and that will a temporary fix, and that way at least the water will back uphill and naturally leach out through the lesions in the pipe. It was buried before, it didn't go anywhere, it was dead-ended, just into the ground, and now, you know, it was verbally, from what I understand, given him to move that pipe where it is now.
I wonder if anything can be done to mitigate the damage done to the wetlands. You say there's materials in there that shouldn't be in there?
Oh, yes, it's 6 or 8 inches of silt, a lot of wood chips.
I wonder if we should talk to the Conservation Commission, if there's anything that can be done, if we could go in there and maybe remove some of those materials.
Yeah, that would take expertise to see. They may say that it's not enough, that it will naturally break down the wood chips. No, those should be removed, like the silt.
Well, the balance there is whether or not removal does more damage than what's already there too, so.
I'm hearing some conflicting DES information. So DES was out with you.
The dam inspector came out.
Dam inspector.
Yeah, he had the permit in 1972. The dam was permitted in 1972. He inspected it, everything was fine. I spoke with him again today. He thinks that the wetlands people dropped the ball on it. He said somebody probably just overlooked this problem.
Do you have any written communication with them that you could forward to the town? Because I think that would help.
Today was a phone call, but I do have
Okay.
some emails. Yes, that the wetlands people just blew it right off. The watershed people blew it right off. Nobody with the state wants to even touch it. And
So if we could have the name of the person that you're working with, I can coordinate with them and Joe, and we can kind of just work together to fix it. And I think that would be faster if we could get their contact info. That way I can pass that info on to Joe and make sure that it gets worked on.
one thing the dam inspector did tell me, even though we all work in the same building, he goes, I don't know anybody from wetlands, I don't know anybody from watershed, we don't communicate, we don't talk. So we're butting heads again. And the wetlands, I think the contractor's been very good. He sees a problem, he's been taking care of it. If he sees some few wood chips, he'll probably pick those right out and go from there. It's the water. We have to stop that water. It's going to continue to damage the wetlands. He can keep putting chips in there every time it rains. They're going to wind up in the wetlands, and he's going to put them back. He's got his, I'd say 99% of the water running off off that property, they have control. It goes into their pond, it goes where it's supposed to be. There's gonna be a little erosion, the new construction grass hasn't quite set in yet, and that's expected. But we just have to fix the drainage on Stafford Drive.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention and to staff's attention, because I know Adam will circle the,
Yeah, it's been brought, so it was brought to our attention a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
Around the time the contractor fixed the issue with the roof drainage. We are still working on it. If I could have the name of the DES rep, if you have it, that would be helpful. That way I can just contact them directly and get a report from them, and then I can work directly with Joe. My role in this is kind of as a mediator, it would seem, just because this has to do with Stafford Drive and. Okay. Do you mind if I write down his email? Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I will talk to the Conservation Commission about this too.
This is a big contributor to vegetation growth in those areas as well.
I remember you saying that before. I didn't understand that why, but now I do. I think that brings in a lot of salt as well.
Absolutely.
John, would you like to proceed? Thank you again. I just want to say this board is very much concerned with protection of wetlands, and I appreciate your articulate explanation of the values that we're all trying to protect. So I know Alan will get on the Board of Selectmen, and Scott will. We're not as siloed here in Swansea as.
I also want to talk to the Conservation Commission about this.
Simple solution.
I will legitimately bring it up to Joe tomorrow. Yeah, I'll meet with him tomorrow ASAP.
Thank you, Adam.
And
Yeah,
John,
I'll try to get, I did not meet DES out there, it was the site contractor, and met with them the day, it was the day of, it was the Thursday that it happened. They have like inspectors of the day, so I don't know who it would have been, but I'll talk to the site contractor and call DES and see if they have a report of what they wrote down in the report as well. Because they had said, oh, everything looked good. And I believe it was the wetlands inspector that said we don't have record of the dam. So the fact that he has the permit and the dam bureau has record of it, that's great.
and we appreciate your explanation, on paper of exactly what was happening and how it was rectified.
Yeah, it's ultimately, it is that under drain coming from the road. And, if we can just work with Joe, I think
Yes.
it's easy enough to figure out a way to remove it or direct it elsewhere or something.
Good. Are there any further questions about the site plan modification at this point? Any other discussion?
No, I think we really went over it
All right.
at the pre-meeting.
I would entertain a motion to approve the modifications as presented. So moved by Richard. Second
I'll second.
by Scott. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just for clarification, the water that you're talking about, is that going from the south to the north towards the pond? There's a little bit of a dip on Wilson Pond Road.
Go from the east to the west.
I'm just confused as to where exactly you're referring, because I know where this project is, as you come down to Wilson Pond Road, there is a small pond there. Many, many years ago was a collection of bed springs and things of that nature, all kinds of metal in there, et cetera. But I'm trying to figure where.
Just west of their holding pond.
Pardon?
Right, their holding pond will overflow into that pond.
Into that pond, yes.
That pond.
But does that pond then go underneath the road in that dip? There's a,
I believe that naturally leaches and eventually makes its way. I don't believe there's an outflow to that pond into Wilson Pond. The only flow into Wilson Pond is directly out of my pond, which is a spring-fed brook that runs through my pond. You can drink the water.
I don't know if I would, but
Yeah.
goes across Russell Page.
Based on our testing, don't drink.
Very bottom of it.
Yes, that goes in that Wilson Pond Road, enters Wilson Pond, about 120 yards from my property. Wilson Pond.
Very good. I just wanted to be sure where we're talking.
This one does this, so that under drain, that used to have one right here, you can see the top where the flow down here.
Okay.
And then this wetland is lower than this pond. With a dam here now. So when the roof went up, it was come out the other end of the well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Scott, you'll hear from me tomorrow, okay? Yeah, I'll reach out to you. I don't know when Joe's free, and I don't know when tomorrow. So if you come after 10, I should be available, okay? Appreciate it.
Next up, we have a site plan modification presented pursuant to Dillon Hopkins Airport ground-mounted solar array. Would you like to walk us through the changes?
Sure. Just apologize, I don't have a display. I wasn't expecting to present it, but the changes made to this site plan are submitted to, so, can you hear me okay?
Almost.
Wait till they,
A little louder.
So, we're here tonight to bring our site plan approval up to date with some changes that were made over the course of the AOT permitting process and the FAA permitting process. The updates as I had outlined included primarily shifting the stormwater detention basin that's associated with the north array 150 feet south of its original location, so it basically it slid south, and that was based on a request from the New Hampshire DOT planner as part of the FAA permitting to create a bit more separation between the taxiway object-free area and that particular feature. There were some minor grading adjustments that went along with that, and that were recently approved as part of our AOT permit. And we made some minor adjustments to the fence line around the north array. It followed a kind of strange course in the south near the equipment pads initially with a triangular bend in the fence, so we straightened that out. And we brought the fence line a bit closer to the array in the north, and just clarified interior versus perimeter fencing for both of the arrays. The plan was also updated to reflect a small area of wetland that straddles the north property line that was unfortunately unintentionally omitted with our original application because of a discrepancy between the tax maps that were used as the basis for that first step of doing the delineation and the final surveyed boundary lines. So we have reflected that on the plan and have ensured no impacts to that. And then the final update was just removing the color-coded phasing plan that we had originally included, and I think we talked about that during the meeting, that our process is to go through and do a civil phase, and then we come through the foundations, the racking, and the array kind of in sequence and in coordination with AOT. we removed that color-coded plan that was a bit misleading, I think, in terms of how it would be phased. So those are the changes that were made to the site plan. We've since gotten all of our no objection determinations from FAA, and we just recently received our AOT permit approval. And now we are here.
Now, you were going to wait until August, I thought, to begin construction. What is the expected construction date at this point?
With approval of the modification, we would be expecting to submit our building permit imminently. So we would like to
Ready to
start
go.
very soon. Yes.
Good.
I'm sorry, what did you say, start when?
Starting September, within
Of
a
this
month.
year?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Questions from the board about the proposed modifications?
They seem pretty reasonable and nothing
Necessary?
major to really consider.
So it's just keeping that, you know, that pond there, the north detention pond we see in our plans here. I'm not sure if that's the old plan or the new plan or not.
The new plan I had included, and
In our packet, okay. That's
Yeah.
no problem.
And
There's
it's-
a big copy behind me too. There's only
Oh,
one
there
big
is?
copy, so
Okay.
if you
All
guys need to look at it, feel free to step
I'm just
out.
gonna take a little peek at
Yeah.
this for a second.
Take as much time as you guys need to look at that.
yeah, the north pond was originally kind of tucked up in the corner alongside the taxiway object-free area, and just out of a precaution, they wanted to provide a bit more space so there wasn't a feature directly against that area in case there was an overshoot or something of that nature. But the new location resolves that concern.
Sorry, Megan, I should have had you print off 3 more copies.
No,
of the
it's
plan.
okay, I apologize. I was, I guess, not totally sure that I would be kind of presenting it the way we're just considering when I said
It's probably my fault. I looked in the bag on Tuesday, and I'm like, crap, there's only one copy in
I'm sorry.
here.
I should have known better. I apologize.
No, it's all good. We'll just give them time, as much time as they need to look at it.
Okay, that's fine with me.
The FAA is still okay with you overlapping into the center line on that southern array?
Overlapping into the center line. Yeah, you have a copy here. Could you clarify? I guess when you say overlapping.
On your southern array, you have on the very southern part of your array, to the east side of the array that overlaps into the center line. The FAA is okay with that.
Well, so yes, we are outside of all of the object-free areas underneath all of the visibility surfaces. So there's no restriction, height restriction in that area that the array exceeds, and there's no object restriction in that area that the array exceeds. If you see on the, I guess it might be a little bit hard to see, but on C2.1, it shows the color-coded surfaces. So we stay completely outside of that inner center line box, which is where you cannot have any construction or objects.
The reason I keep asking about that is it appears that the most southern approach light is, almost into your array.
We have a good, I believe we have 200 feet past that, but we are outside all of the required surfaces, and FAA did review and approve the solar panel. So, so I guess I can say yes, they are okay with this plan.
Questions? Looks good.
You said the construction might begin September. What is your approximate end date for the construction?
We expect the construction will be September through April 27, and that we'll be back next fall after the pause for the bird nesting season for a few months. So August 27 through.
So you're going to work through the winter?
Yes.
You hope.
Any other questions or comments from the board? I would entertain a motion to approve the site plan modifications as presented.
I'll make that motion to approve the site plan modifications as presented.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming in and bringing us up to date.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Adam, we have a zoning audit discussion.
And there was none.
Thank you for coming in.
Just a
Thank you.
brief update, I suppose. So tomorrow, or at the very latest on Monday, you all will be getting some documentation on the first draft of the reorganized ordinance and what it would look like.
Meaning the document or an outline of what to expect?
Both. So it's a whole document, it's the whole ordinance that the proposed reorganization.
Okay.
And then reasonings behind the decisions. It's not changing any of the language. It's just making everything into the new format.
Nice.
And so the reason why we're getting this out to you all so early is so we have a couple of planning board meetings to discuss. So you all will have a couple weeks to look through these documents and have your comments ready before our meeting on the 27th. And then that'll give us the 27th and the 10th to discuss these proposed changes. Along with the proposed changes, there is a kind of like a 5-year outline for zoning amendments we would need to make, various compliance issues, changes to language and definitions that would need to be passed at town meeting.
And that's, I'm guessing that's a 5-year outline sort of based on urgency, I would expect.
Yeah, it's a rough 5-year, so it could very well take longer than that.
But the most important things are sequenced
Yes.
towards the beginning.
Yep,
We can't predict what the state requires us to do.
True that.
exactly.
Good.
So they are beefy, they are very dense, there's a lot of information. So take as much time as you need, send me as many questions as you need. I'll pass along everything to Sarah, and then before our meeting on September 17th, you all would have had two full meetings to discuss.
So these two meetings, we won't have Sarah, these are just internal meetings?
Yep.
The 27th and
Yes.
the 10th.
Yep.
Can you make us some hard copies of that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to take me some time. Yeah, it's going to take some time, but once I get the handouts, I will immediately start printing copies for pickup.
Right.
So you guys will have what you need to take hard notes, download them on your computer, tablet, whatever you use. Spend as much time as you can with this, because it's a lot. But it's looking very good so far. Very promising. Sarah's doing a great job.
Great.
Right.
Now, no pressure, but are you thinking the handouts would be available on Friday, which is only a half day?
It depends on when I get the rest of the information.
Maybe wait until Monday to knock on the door?
Yeah, I think at the very least, you would have digital copies at the end of the day tomorrow.
Great.
But unless there's a delay, in which case Monday for both.
Wonderful.
Sounds like it'd be a good thing to read if I'm having trouble sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot, but I think there's going to be a lot of positive changes in there. But again, first draft, so we're wanting a lot of feedback, a lot of redlining, a lot of notes. Yeah,
Great. Thank
that's
you.
all I got.
exciting. Other business?
No, he scared me.
Updates on our sewer water committee. I think since the last time we are, I may have told you, we're focusing now on the water company end of it, water part of it for the town. The sewer part of it is in engineering right now. I may have told you last time, I don't remember what I told you last time, but it is in, the engineering is preliminary to see exactly what route we're going to take. So that's where that stands, and we'll know in the fall probably what the best route to take. And so we're looking at the water company and funding through Northern Borders, possibly to either purchase that or partially purchase and upgrade. It's a complicated process. The deadline for the pre-app is the 21st of this month, so we're on it pretty heavily to get a pre-app in time, so then we can get the application in the fall, and we would know in December, I think, if we're going to be awarded anything. So the Northern Borders are awarded up to like $1 million per project, and usually half of that has to be with construction, and the other half can be with purchasing of assets and things like that. In this case, we're thinking about breaking up into two sections because the purchasing of the actual assets of the company will not meet that 50% construction part of it that's required. So if we go for Northern for a grant for that, actually it's a matching grant, 50% matching grant, they would allow up to $500,000 for purchasing without any construction in there. And again, that's a 50% match that the town has to match in there. So it's all preliminary. We had a meeting last week with Sarah, but with Northern Borders on the phone actually, or on the computer, whichever you had there. And that's where we're at. We're moving on with that, trying to get the pre-apping. So I'll have more later. Next meeting maybe. No, if we
Good
have
job.
So also on that note, if anybody can think of any benefits, real benefits, economic benefits to the town that the water company will give us, we would definitely need that input because the Northern Borders relies heavily on that. You're moved further up the list if economic development part of it is higher. So, you know, we've got the Homestead woolen mills down there that they'd like to put on, I don't know how many units are down there. It varies up and down, but I've heard like 80 or something like that. So we've got that could go on if the water was there. We could develop more on Route 10 if we had the water there. So those are two things. Fire protection is another thing, because the town really doesn't have adequate fire protection. They've got some of them bagged off, if you may have noticed in town.
At least half the fire hydrants in this part of town don't work.
They put the bags over.
There's no water
Oh,
left on.
heavens. Well, I don't know about that. I think they're all hooked up to
That's what
water
the fire
system.
chief told me. Just, there's no water there.
Yeah, there's water there, because those hydrants run off the same lines that the residences run off.
According to him,
So-
50% of them don't work.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't really know that. But either way, the water company is saying that we are not covered under fire protection. It's just for residential. So, even though the hydrants are there. The problem being, if they hook a fire truck up to the hydrants as they are now, if they only have one pump running, we'll say that that fire truck pumps 400 gallons a minute, and that pump only pumps 300 gallons a minute, then you're depleting the system. So that's where the problem is right there. If they run
Don't have a
two pumps, not a problem, because they've got all the water on the ground there, but depending how it's set up, so I think that's one of the things. And they only have a 10,000 gallon storage tank. So, anything you can think of that would help us with that application there, that it would improve Swanzey here. And again, it's just in the west part of town here. Yeah, let us know. We can put it into that application.
One drawback I see though is a couple of those large lots, we have water and sewer there. You're going to get low income there. Because that's what is required.
Yeah, tonight, we won't have the sewer there for like another 3 years, but yeah, the water went in there, yeah, you probably would. They rely on the sewer more than the water, it seems, but both would be nice, yeah, if they were both right there on Route 10, yeah, they might take up some of that property with housing, don't know. And
Funny thing is, though, if somebody bought an ex-restaurant, that field, they could build something there, because if they bought both those lots, they can hook up to Nick's, because he is on sewer and water. Because he ran it over from his North Winchester.
he is, but I believe that's a 2-inch line that pumps over the hill there. They have a holding tank right in like the middle of that lot, I know what you're talking about. And for the restaurant, I think it was a 2-inch force main going over and hooking in the back of where one of their apartment houses was. And if there's something big going in there, that 2-inch line isn't gonna cut it. You know, we'd have to have something a little bit different.
Well, there is some plans for that, but I can't say what right now.
Well, they'd better look into that before they get going too far.
Well, but the person who wants to develop that is going to be a bone to food to our town, so.
Good.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Thank you for doing that work, too. Gosh. You and the committee.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.